celebrating the world's most popular sport. This is Ultimate Soccer. And now your host, here's Soccer Steve.
And it is another in-house number. It's an in-house number all the way through. Okay, so there's the one for today. And welcome back. I hope you're doing good. And I'll tell you what a weekend we got ahead of us for Canadian soccer. What a week we got ahead of us for international Canadian soccer. And that 36-year wait by Thursday evening should be over. We might even get a few favours along the way, but we do not need to wait much longer. And boy, I tell you, what's it going to feel like to be in a World Cup? I mean, honestly, just ponder that thought. It's just, you know, it's great to get used to this amazing flair and skill, goals, wins, no losses, 11 games, 3 to go. Are we going to stay undefeated in the next 3 games? Comment down below, guys. Are we going to stay undefeated? I mean, really? We're looking for some amazing record if we do. And if we can stay undefeated, let's try and do that again. I mean, we're talking like a golden era in the making here for Canada. And they're so young. The team is still so young. When I say so young, there's only really 2 years of solid chemistry. 4 years making it, but it took the first 2 years for Johnny Herman to find out what he needed. Yeah, so what is it going to be like to get to a World Cup? How proud. I mean, I think there's going to be a tear in my eye. I really think I'm going to cry when we get that confirmation. I just know me, and I tell you, I'm not embarrassed to tell anybody that I could cry for that. I think that's a wonderful reason to cry. But it's going to be amazing to get to that World Cup. And like I say, by Thursday, it's going to be possibly the reality. So get used to that. But this has been a phenomenal ride for you, for me, for the country. It's made me proud. It's made you proud. It's made the boys proud. We are somebody in the world. We don't need to bow. We don't need to hide. We don't just scurry away. We're not the whipping horses of anybody now. It's just amazing to be at this stature, and I hope each and every one of you really loves the situation that we've got right now, because it's phenomenal. And I'll tell another thing. When I look around the world and I see other nations, and I'm not being rude or disrespectful, but I'm just going to be very pro-Canadian with the next thing I say, is when I look at our national players and our club teams from the CPL, MLS, and boys who are playing overseas, and all our girls players who are overseas and playing in the women's leagues, etc. Every Canadian soccer player that I see play the game, they play with absolute class, and they don't bicker, they don't go at the refs. They really are the role models for the rest of the world to follow in soccer, because our Canadian people are the most well-behaved players on the field worldwide. I just want to get that out there before that gets lost in translation somehow. But I know I'm going on a little here. I will get to the points of the show. But this is a fine time to be Canadian. It's a fine time to be in the game. And like I say, it's just amazing. It's just amazing to live this. And come Thursday, whew, it's going to be reality. Come Monday, I'm going to bring you another show, lining you up, getting you ready for the World Cup qualifying flavour, because it's coming really fast. It's only 6 days away as I speak. But I'm going to line you up a show Monday, giving you the ins and outs of the 3 games. Costa Rica, Jamaica, Panama. And then after that, there's a World Cup pre-game for the Costa Rica game. And I tell you, within a week, it'll all be done and dusted. 3 games in less than a week, and it is less than a week, and our guys have got to fly. Air miles is one thing, but I tell you what, the amount of travelling we got to do, we travel more than anybody in CONCACAF, you know that. because we're up here in Canada. So we got more travelling to do than anybody. If you're somebody like Mexico, it's little trips everywhere. Same for the States, you know. So we travel more than anybody. So that last 3 games we're going to be travelling quite a bit. Just remember that. But, hey, I think we're going to be okay. But I'll give you all the details Monday. I'm not giving anything away today. Now, moving back to some of the Canadian news, here's what I'm thinking about Canadian club soccer before we get lost in translation.
Okay guys, Major League Soccer this weekend. We've got 3 games coming at us this weekend. Before we go anywhere though, 9 games in combined, Vancouver, Montreal and Toronto FC. No wins, 2 draws, 7 losses, not looking good. So this weekend, let's hope we get a win. Let's hope we get 3. First off, Toronto FC, 11th in the East, taking on DC United, 4th in the East. It's going to be tough. A win is going to be really tough to be had here. DC are no fools. Toronto looking to get some form going. I really couldn't call this other than it's going to be a tough day for Toronto. Hopefully we can get some productivity up front and keep it really closed at the back. Right now, this is an edging game for DC. You've got to think DC is the favourite on this one. Again, TFC, DC United, Toronto looking for their first win. DC United not doing so bad. Next up, Montreal in 14th place in the East, taking on Atlanta United, 5th in the East. You've got to think Atlanta's the favourite for this one, but eventually Montreal's got to break that duck, yeah? 3 straight losses. This would be the weekend to turn things around. Atlanta United won't make it easy. Favourite on the day, got to say, as Atalanta. And finally, LAFC taking on Vancouver. LAFC, first in the West, looking good. Been looking good for a few years now. Since they came into this league, LAFC have not really been in LA Galaxy's shadow. So you got to say, LAFC doing pretty good in first in the West right now, and they're going to be there or thereabouts for the rest of the season. I have no doubt about that. Vancouver, 14th in the West. It's looking like it's really going to be a long season, and the Red Cards, you can't get too many of them and get to win games. Looking at the table, Eastern Conference now. Columbus up high in first on 7. Philadelphia also on 7. In behind New York Red Bulls and the DC United that we're talking about earlier on in this. Both on 6 points in 3rd and 4th. Rounding up the top 5, Atlanta United. We also talked about them. They're also on 6 points from 3 games. There's your top 5 in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, LAFC up on top. 7 points, 3 games. Real Salt Lake in behind, also 7 points. And in 3rd, it's Austin doing pretty good. And let's see if they stay there all season long. But right now, Austin in 3rd on 6 points, Colorado on 6, and LA Galaxy, maybe they are in the shadow of LAFC, but LA Galaxy in 5th on 6 points. Let's take a look at some of the stats. MLS goal scorers or hot shots right now. Lucas Zalayan on 4, Carlos Vela on 3, Lewis Morgan on 3, Sebastian Drusi on 3, and Brandon Vasquez rounding out the top 5 on 2. Talking about the guys that like to assist and make things happen. Diego Fagundes on Austin, he's on 3 assists. Patrick Kimala, New York Red Bulls, also on 3 assists. Adam Buxa on 2. Derek Etienne from Columbus on 2. And rounding out your top 5, Frankie Amnaya, also on 2 assists. Bad boys on yellow card, Scott Caldwell, Real Salt Lake, he's got 3 already. Brendan Hines-Ike has also got 2 from DC United. Christian Ortiz from Charlotte, he's on 2. Claudio Bravo on Portland, he's on 2. And Diego Chara, also from Portland, on 2 yellow cards. Portland, bit of a physical team. On the red card side of life, let's stay with the Canadian teams. Jake Nowitzki, he's got a red card for Vancouver. And Rommel Quito from Montreal, 2. There's some stats for the weekend. Like I said, guys, no wins in 9. It'll be 12 by the end of Sunday, and it's a late game for Montreal, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. But I say, no wins so far. We're looking for wins. Hopefully we get some to start this Canadian flavour in MLS going up the league. We're propping up both leagues in 14th spot. That's got to change. And it's only going to change if we get the goals.
Now that you've heard all that, let's take a look at the Canadian national team. I'll see you after that.
Okay, World Cup qualifying's coming at us this week. It's coming real fast, I tell you, and I can't wait. I know you can't wait, and we've been waiting for a long time. But anyway, some heads-up news. Monday, I'm going to give you a preview of the 3 games in this window, like I've done all along. So you're going to hear about the Costa Rica game in Costa Rica. You'll hear about the Jamaica game in Canada. You'll hear about the Panama game in Panama City, Panama, when Canada travels down there for the final game. That comes to you Monday, so you'll get all the information there Monday about the next 3 games. Stay tuned for that. Also, Wednesday's show, I will give you the Costa Rica versus Canada pre-game show. May well be released earlier than normal. So check your inbox for that and get people to subscribe and get people around this. But next 3 games, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Panama. Can we stay undefeated? Drop an email. Drop a comment down below. Can we stay undefeated in these 3 games? Remember, with 6 wins on the trot, are we going to get another 3 wins? Is that even possible to go 9 wins back-to-back wins? Guys, down below, make a comment. Will we win 9 games straight on the bounce? It's certainly a big question. Is it in our capabilities? I think it is. But coming Monday, the pre-game show of the 3 games, and then the Costa Rica pre-game show, that comes up on Wednesday. Okay, guys, next up is some great news about a story that's just unfolding, and it's today's story in the show. It's about Newcastle United FC. I'm going to give you an in-depth little citer into what it was Man City were years ago that Newcastle are trying to become.
3, 2, 1.
This is Ultimate Soccer with Soccer Steve.
Now, on the world news this week, I wanted to focus on one particular club, and I'm going to make that the story for this show. And the story, literally, and the world news this week is Newcastle United. I think it's a story that I want to touch with you because it reminds me of one big, massive club right now that's trying to own everything in football. That's Manchester City. Now, Manchester City were not always a big club. They were a little club. But they've turned into a big club because of mucho dinero, yeah, lots of money. And that made everything turn around for them, yeah? So you look at Manchester City right now. 15 years ago, I said on TSN 1260 that there's a team that's going to be massive in world football, and that team is Manchester City. And look at them now, 15 years later. They've come a long way, considering where they were. I think like a couple of decades ago, Manchester City were in the 3rd division, 3rd tier of English football. So you can see how far they've come. Now, getting to the Newcastle United. Newcastle United is a staunch North England football team. They're very proud. They always have 50,000 people in that crowd, well supported, passionately supported. Probably the loudest fans in Britain on their day. They really get going, and when they start chanting and singing, it's massive, it's loud, and they're on their song, and you can hardly hear the whistle. That's how much passion there is in that crowd. That whole area is passionate about one thing: Newcastle United, because in that region there's nothing else. That is the show, and that's what people get into. You're getting a Christmas present at Newcastle. I think you're going to guarantee that every grandkid gets a Newcastle shirt, the new one every year, yeah? So it's a phenomenal area, it's really passionate, they love their football, and they're very, very proud. And they stand together. So anyway, you've got a massive crowd there, a team that's done nothing until a Saudi investment group took over, a public investment group, and it's a Saudi public investment group. And as I scratch my neck, that money has transformed that club and really transformed that club really fast. Look at this. 3-4 months ago, Premier League starts, Newcastle as a manager, Stevie Bruce, things go down real quick. The first 11 games, it's not much luck, and Steve Bruce, done and dusted, gets fired under the new ownership. Yeah, the new Saudi ownership. In comes Eddie Howe and transforms that team. Not overnight. A few games took its toll, but the last 8 games, last 9 games, they've won 6, drew 1, lost 2. That for a team that was in the relegation zone, looking like they were going to get done and dusted and buried in English football, that's amazing that they actually survived. Well, after that run of games, they're getting close to mid-table. They look like they're going to survive, and they don't look like they're going to get relegated. Now, relegation is something in European football. It is in US football too, whereas you have a first tier and a second tier, and eventually a few teams at the bottom of the first tier drop out into the second tier, and a few teams that are really riding high in the second tier jump up into the first tier. So there's a transition of bad teams from the first tier, good teams in the second tier. They change places. That looked like Newcastle's fate coming up in a few months, but with this recent form of wins, it's blown that out the park. The Great Investments Group, and let's put it this way, they have gazillions. With that money coming into Newcastle, it's going to transform this club. And the fear of relegation is now fading away. So that it looks like next year they're going to be another of the 20 clubs in the Premier League in England. But they're going to stack that team this off-season when the transfer or the trade windows open, and next January, and subsequently every year after that, with every 2 trade windows, they're going to be the people with the money to buy the best players because they can pay them the highest wages. They're going to transform Newcastle United into a fantastic story, and it's going to emulate or replicate Manchester City in many ways. Watch that to happen. I think it's 3 to 5 years away until Newcastle can really be continual challengers like, say, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Definitely not Arsenal, Man United, Spurs or West Ham. But I think that if you look to the future with that investment group, and the Saudi part is 80%. So it seems to me, when you look at history and you see what history does, it's going to be history repeating itself, and it's going to be Newcastle United, a big number in European football. That's the story for today. That's what I really wanted to get across before that really does get buried, until one day they win a trophy and everybody says, "Oh, how did that happen?" Much like the day that we have qualified for a World Cup. People will say, "How did that happen?" And all of us will know our history and will know exactly how that happened. So Newcastle United, it's going to be a big story coming soon. We are a big story. And we're going to Qatar very, very soon. Coming up Monday, you know, I'm talking about the 3 teams coming through. Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Panama. That's the show. And don't forget, BMO Field on the 27th against Jamaica. It's going to be a massive, massive show. And the ticket sales have gone well. And I know you guys, thumbs up to everybody who told me they got tickets. Massive. You all got tickets. And I tell you, enjoy that game. It's coming soon. Next show Monday. I'll see you all. Have a great weekend. And let's have 3 wins for those Canadian teams. We're 0-9. 12 games are going to be through by the end of Sunday. I'd like to think we're going to get 3 wins. I'd settle for a win, a draw, and maybe a loss across the board. Well, let's see what happens. Anyway, see you Monday. Have a great weekend. And we're going to Qatar. Get ready for it. I am. And I just can't get enough of it. Thanks, guys. See you Monday.
3, 2, 1.
This is Ultimate Soccer with Soccer Steve.